Let's have fun. Let's paint encaustic on glass.
Encaustic painting is a very ancient form of art using
Wax, pigment, and heat.
People are very drawn to it because there's this kind of softness to it.
It's like looking through fog or water or something like that.
Encaustic painting is painting with wax, with melted wax, and then you can use a brush, a palette, and each layer is fused to the next layer using some source of heat.
It's fun to use fire. I mean, how many other painting techniques do you get to light up your blowing torch and go to town with it?
So it becomes really, really challenging to get what you want. So you sort of have to let the wax also do what it's going to do and not just accept that, but love that.
It's also has a specific texture to it that painting doesn't have. So when you look at an encaustic painting, you are very drawn to the texture of it, which has its own life. And so there is this element of almost sculpture to it, which makes it very different than a regular painting.
The wax itself is a very unusual thing to work with. It doesn't work the way watercolor works or the way acrylic works or oils work, whereas you have an idea, you have a drawing, and you paint in.
So it's a very fluid medium. You can use it for just about anything you want. It's one of the things that attracts me to it.
It started in the Trojan times, where they painted the bottoms of the boats to keep the water out. And then it moved over to Egypt, where the Egyptians used it in the faces in the tombs.
The Fayum mummy portraits were painted in encaustic. They were beautiful portraits of the person that was within the mummy case.
And those are around today, and the color's still vivid and they're still in good shape. So it's a very permanent medium. It's also fragile.
So I like to tell people that this medium versus all the other ones will last as long as the mummies have lasted.
And then it had a resurgence in the 50s and 60s, and probably the most famous artist would be Jasper Johns.
The famous flag of Jasper Johns is an encaustic piece.
If you look closely at that, that's newspaper background embedded in colored hot beeswax.
The cool thing about encaustic is every artist can bring their own creative element and personality to it.
I'm very interested in protecting the planet, and a lot of my work has to do with pollution and intermingling of things, and not in kind of a negative way, but that things become tainted and polluted by mankind, basically.
So mine started out using my photographs as background elements, as subject elements, then painting layers of wax over that and perhaps embedding things into that wax. So mine tend to be abstract and very layered, where the bottom layers almost disappear.
Color inspires me. Right now it seems to be the orange and ecru colors I like. Usually the color or the papers that I use direct what happens. Whereas I might have an idea, when I start working, the paint itself takes me somewhere else, totally.
So my current series is about women's suffrage. Once I started reading first-hand accounts, I learned so many stories that I had never heard about. So after researching, I created various paintings telling the stories of these women and what they went through.
If you're an artist watching this, my guess is you might want to try this, and I would highly recommend it.
Encaustic means heat. Getting to use a blowtorch, that's the fun of this process. This is why I painted encaustic.